based on honestly, Vara is like Kevin De Bruyne, while Osimhen is like Haaland. They are the symphony of the team, and that they've combined as torpedoes. I'm trying to look for the right word now. They just cannot do without each other. Vara has provided 10 assists. He scored 12. That's about, in 30 games, that's about 22 goal combination. But Victor has scored 22 and has provided about 6 or 7 assists. So based on stats, Victor is the king of Naples. But Vara is the man that if he's there, Victor's job is a lot more easier. They find each other around. They move around that penalty box. So I think for me, we live in an era of stats. And for all of the, and again, I recall when Victor had a knock that got him that he didn't play the first leg of the Champions League against Milan, and 2 other games in the Serie. They struggled. They didn't win all of those games, but as soon as Victor came back, they started winning. So I think it was an error from the Serie Twitter handle. It's actually Victor that is the king, not Kvaratskhelia.
Wow. So yeah, Brownish. Any justification of that graphic design?
Can I say it's in the harshest of terms?
Maybe
or do I have to
now to speak correct English? Sorry.
Do I have to temper my words? Do I have to say it in the harshest of terms?
Let's just be a nice guy in between, while also being honest.
Personally, I feel like if Victor Osimhen was white, they wouldn't have done that.
Okay.
I mean, let's look at the English Premier League. You know, Kevin De Bruyne gives all the assists. If De Bruyne doesn't give assists, Haaland will find it a lot more difficult to score, right? But the fact is, Haaland is seen as the king of the English Premier League. He's the one that came on and took on the English Premier League, and he's dominating it, right? He's the monster. But Kevin De Bruyne is the engine room. Likewise, in Napoli, and I agree with what Adesi said, the rare occasion when Victor Osimhen was out on an injury, what happened? They lost 1-0 to AC Milan in the first leg. When he came back and they played against that same AC Milan again, what happened?
He scored against them.
He scored against them. And Kvaratskhelia played in the first leg, right? He did all his magic. He tried to shoot, he dribbled, we did all of that. But you could clearly see that there was a gaping hole of quality in that center forward position for Napoli that nobody else could fill. If Vara wasn't there, and there's something that I always keep reminding people: you can score without somebody giving you an assist. You cannot give an assist if there's nobody there to finish it. And Vara experienced it so well against AC Milan, because Milan used all their defenders were having the time of their lives. They were keeping him outside the box. He would dribble and enter inside the box. They will block him. There was nobody to lay the pass off to. Personally, I don't feel like they should have even crowned the King of Naples, because the two of them were equally important. Because if Farah didn't deliver, Osimhen wouldn't have scored. But I feel like it was just inherent, probably very buried racism that made them look and say, yeah, you know, everybody's giving the plaudits to Victor Osimhen. Let's give the white dude something too.
Well, that's some argument, really. And I'm just wondering if those may have a counter argument to the thoughts of yours and also what Daisy has said. I'm keen to find out if there's any justification. I'll share my own sentiments on this in 30 seconds, only after you speak about those.
Yeah, you know, one thing is clear. You know, when you look at Napoli as a club, the main guy is Victor Osimhen. I mean, it's ostensibly clear for everyone to see. You can only tell a man if the soup lacks oil, but he will surely know if it lacks salt. That's the case of Victor Osimhen. Kvaratskhelia is the oil, Victor Osimhen is the salt, and you need salt to taste. And when you taste it and you find that it's salt, you say, okay, this food is salty or it's spicy. So Victor Osimhen was the spice, scoring the goals, and that's why he broke the record for the most goals of an African in the Serie A. George Weah held that record, 46. Victor Osimhen made it 47. And then you want to actually give him all the accolade he deserves, and then you just push him out of the picture and put Kvaratskhelia. Yes, Vara has done well. He's, helped the team. But let's be honest, Victor Osimhen is the man for Napoli. I mean, he showed it in that Champions League. He came back, even scored a goal. Scored against most of the opponents, was scoring 2-3 goals sometimes. He will come off the bench, he will find the back of the net. So let's double this talk about Kvaratskhelia. Well, he contributed. Yes, he contributed. But Victor Osimhen was he was the transmitter and the mast. Vara was like the microphone now, where people. But Victor Osimhen was the engine room. He was the man that transmitted for Napoli. So let them give him his honor. He deserves it.
Something that seldom happens is that all three colleagues of mine in the studio go towards the same path after all said and done. And that's the reality right now from Brownish Adeze and Overdose. I'll get to the phone lines to hear from you and read out your comments on social media shortly. But this is my take on this, and which is where some people have come from, their own POV. That crowning, that idea of Maradona to Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian who's just 21 years of age, is not necessarily saying, yeah, of course, there's one part of it that says it was Maradona that led them to win the titles in 1987 and 1990. But there's the argument that it's about the similarity of play. Adeze used the line that, Kvaratskhelia is like Kevin De Bruyne, right? So Maradona, in football terms, is not the guy that gives you 100 goals. He's them Kevin De Bruyne, they're Messi, even though Messi now scores and all that. But they are the ones who create the magic. They do all the magic, lay the passes for people to score. They score sometimes too, which is what Vara has done, scoring 12 times and having 10 assists. But there's a reason why he has 10 assists and Osimhen has 4 assists and has 32 goals. So there's the argument that crowning, 23, right, when you add what he did over the weekend, that crowning was more of, this is the next, in that position of play. Vara is more similar to Maradona and not necessarily this is the king of the Napoli now.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying that could be a different
They should have
POV
used somebody who played alongside Maradona to crown
Osimhen
they should have used the Maradona teammates to crown Vara, while use Maradona to crown Osimhen.
Okay,
you understand?
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
So we know that's where they're coming from.
Yeah, you're about to chip in something.
Yeah,
quickly.
I say personally, I just feel like it wasn't necessary. Right?
So
they have
don't
a
do it
fan.
at all,
Yeah,
right?
because the moment they did that, what he did was people started going back to all the other pictures to go and start looking at where they positioned Osimhen as to where they positioned Vara.
There was another picture where Vara was in front.
Yeah, and then the Italian Serie A have made it almost clear that they don't necessarily take racism as harshly as they should. Look at that Lukaku incident where Lukaku got racially abused and still got a red card, and the Serie A didn't rescind the red card. They didn't do anything.
So you are very keen to add racism kind of to this
conversation. So they have not done enough to disavow.
Let's not forget that Italy is,
I know, right? Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening.
To say much.
It's game on.
Good evening. My name is Daniel.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask one question. How many times have they shouted that guy name in the field? What's his name? Kvaratskhelia. What's his name?
No, it's not Kvaratskhelia, please. Kvaratskhelia.
Kvaratskhelia. How many times have they shouted his name in the field like they normally shout Osimhen? How many times?
Okay, maybe because the name is difficult to pronounce.
So it's very simple. We don't need to argue about it.
Okay.
Look at the way Osimhen scored against AC Milan. In between how many defenders? It just, in short, nobody even knew where the head was going to and equalize that goal. Meanwhile, this same guy was the one that messed up the first match. He was just dribbling, shooting wide, and in short, I don't want to talk too much. Please, you people should just give it to Osimhen. Osimhen is the King of Naples.
Thank you so much.